Sheung Wan is one of the oldest areas of Hong Kong, a calm and quiet neighbor to Central, the bustling downtown business district just to its east. In a megacity like Hong Kong, known for its fierce commitment to profit and growth, a place of ever higher buildings and ever more massive developments, Sheung Wan is as improbable as it is refreshing. This is a unique enclave. A lot of the past has survived here even as other sections of Hong Kong have been given over to developers and turned decidedly more modern. And this old Hong Kong feel has attracted a new crop of people to move here and start businesses. It's become a breeding ground for galleries, clothing shops, florists, cafes, restaurants, and workshops, which sit side by side with old Chinese printers, antique stores, and metal recycling businesses. And the population of Hong Kong natives that have been here for generations now share blocks with designers and artists from all over the world. It's this combination of old and new that has everyone flocking to Sheung Wan. Ellis Kruger runs Mustache on Aberdeen Street with Alex Day, doing a mix of bespoke tailoring and ready-to-wear clothing. They also produce a guidebook to Hong Kong, which they had printed at one of the old local printing presses.
We wanted something that captured the history of being a foreigner in Hong Kong. And so that whole sort of dapper gentleman with the moustache, sort of winding his way around the Far East, sort of seemed romantic to us. We arrived in Hong Kong five and a half years ago. This was the first area that we had a workshop in. And when it came time for us, when we thought we were ready to open a street level, no other neighborhood really spoke to us in the way that Sheung Wan does. A lot of the streets are not open to traffic, the ladder streets they're called. So there is quite this, especially at night, this very quiet, almost poetic quality to it.
Nearby, Concept specializes in products sourced from around the world that are difficult to find in Hong Kong. Its co-owner is Willie Chan, a Hong Kong film producer, and the man who helped launch the acting career of Jackie Chan.
After my movie work, about 4, 5, 6 o'clock, I would like to come over here. Just because of the atmosphere, the ambience here. There's a bench outside that I would just sit at, have my smokes, and very soon you'll find that people will come and talk to you. You know, if you're having a glass of wine, they will join you. It's like a different part of Hong Kong.
Because most businesses are on street level here instead of tucked away up in high-rises, Sheung Wan is a place where people do a lot of strolling around, and it's a diverse mix that does so. Young Hong Kong natives, middle-aged expatriates, tourists who've wandered past the maze of downtown. In a gallery along Taiping Shan Street, we met Matthias Wu, an artist and Sheung Wan resident exhibiting a collection of photographs of old Hong Kong buildings, many of which have since been torn down.
In Hong Kong, when the government do urban renewal, they're too centralized. So you only have one landlord. It's become very dangerous for a city. You know, but I think in Hong Kong, Sheung Wan is a very good example because the ownership is so diversified, so it's more organic, and also we can maintain this city grid. Then a lot of more interesting shops pop up, and also a lot of designer move into this district because it's cheaper, it's more sustainable.
This has attracted not just shops and design offices, but also institutions. The Asia Art Archive was started here 11 years ago and has established one of the most comprehensive collections of material on Asian contemporary art in the world. In response to an underdeveloped arts infrastructure in Hong Kong, they also hold educational seminars and sponsor a residency program.
After having moved in here, I think we realized quickly that there's nowhere else we'd rather be. And it's been incredible to watch how the area and how the district has changed dramatically over the last 11 years.
At Fungus Workshop, tucked away up the hill from Staunton Street, young craftspeople are not only making and selling leather goods, but holding classes for neighborhood residents to come in and learn the trade. Even as the old craftsmen move away from central neighborhoods like these, they're part of a new wave of people coming in to work creatively and make things in Sheung Wan. Then there are coffee shops like Knockbox, which shares a space with a clothing designer's workshop. They're all about coffee culture and exposing people to new types of coffee and brewing processes. These days, if someone wants to open a business like this, Sheung Wan is the first choice. As in so many cities though, the challenge that arises along with all this renovation, injection of capital, and new enterprise is in maintaining the balance of old and new that makes the neighborhood so attractive in the first place. As Sheung Wan has become more fashionable, rents and property values have begun to rocket upwards, meaning the original residents either can't afford to stay or are enticed into selling their properties. Large-scale developers see opportunities here, and the danger is that Sheung Wan can only keep its independent and small-scale spirit for so long before the property market catches up with it.
I have a lot of friends live in the neighborhoods, The last 2 years have been pretty dramatic because of the rent increase. They drive out a lot of people and the neighborhood is changing. I mean, the one good thing is we have more coffee shops, we have more art gallery up here, but then we are losing some old tea house, our old shops as well.
In Hong Kong, rent is the #1 destroyer of most good ideas. It's very easy to do business here. It's very hard to do a small or medium enterprise. In Soho now, they're planning to build a 25-story hotel, but it only takes a few of those developments to radically change an area. So I think the property developers need to rein it in a little bit because they're the ones who really change a community.
Everyone is wondering what will come of this neighborhood in the future, but for now at least the Sheung formula appears to be working, and there are some encouraging signs that the government is coming to understand the value of the area's heritage. The so-called old married police headquarters was scheduled to be torn down and replaced by another high-rise, but was saved from demolition and is now set to be turned into a center for design instead. But it may take a further realization by the government to really keep a place like Sheung intact, that it needs to do more to sustain small businesses and independent enterprises, and that letting developers control large swaths of land runs the risk of killing the character of a place. It's something that the residents and business owners of Sheung are watching closely.
I think the beauty of this, of Sheung is really that you do have a lot of the older traditional shops and you have these sort of more, organic, creative spaces that are now coming together. But how long that will be able to last, I don't know. I just hope that Hong Kong wakes up in time.
In Hong Kong, for Monocle, I'm Gabriel Lee.